How the heck are you, Wenatchee Valley? How the heck are you, North Central Washington? We're back at it for another day of television entertainment, television information, and just plain television. Happy Tuesday. It's the 7th day of May 2019. I'm Dan Kuntz. This is Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Thanks for starting your day with us. Great show for you today. Beautiful weather for you today. The sun is as high as an elephant's eye, and it looks like it's climbing clear up in the sky, which the sun is apt to do this time of the year. Great show for you today. As I already mentioned, Darci Christoferson, the administrator of the Washington State Apple Blossom Festival, will be in this studio live in the second half of the program to talk about what a fantastic weekend it was. Really, the whole festival, all 10 days, was just a phenomenal success. It always is. This happened to be just an extra special Apple Blossom Festival with the 100th now in the books. We'll talk about that and a whole bunch more. We'll preview the 101st Apple Blossom Festival with Darci Christoferson, second half of the program. A lot of news to get to. It was a busy news day yesterday around the newsroom. Lots going on in North Central Washington. We'll give you the information that you need to start your day. Sports. The postseason prep playoff is either underway or the brackets are set across all the divisions and all the classifications for the most part. We'll talk about that. We got softball later on tonight, our first and only softball game of the year. We got lucky. This game was snowed out earlier in the spring, so they rescheduled for today. And it's a rivalry between the Eastmont Wildcats and the Wenatchee Panthers. They'll play a doubleheader at Walla Walla Point Park. We will tape the game at 4 o'clock this afternoon, play it back for you tonight at 7 o'clock here on the NCW Life channel, unless certain things pan out, and right now it doesn't look like it probably will. It's going to be probably our last sports broadcast of the prep season, believe it or not. Then we all get to take a little bit of a breather. I don't know how many sports broadcasts we've done so far in the calendar year from like September of last year through now May, probably well over 100, I'm assuming. Anyway, we'll have that for you tonight. Plus, we have the obscure holiday birthdays. Today in history, everyone is entitled to Mike McNally's opinion and a whole bunch more. And a weather forecast. Boy, the hits just keep on coming. They really do. But before we get to all of that, let's take you around North Central Washington with our Valley View cameras, courtesy of Localtel Sky-Fi high-speed wireless network. And just outside of a few high clouds, another gorgeous day in the Wenatchee Valley. There's a big ridge of high pressure. I'm going to show you that when we get to the weather forecast to let you know why we're not getting any inclement weather. It's keeping all the bad weather out. It's like a big, strong fence that's diverting any kind of weather system away from us. So it's going to be very warm and very sunny and very dry right into the weekend and into the early part of next week. A fantabulous view from our 4K camera located right at the very tip of Wenatchee Heights, looking down over the Wenatchee Valley. You can see the apple yard down there. You can see Birch Mountain, Badger Mountain, Sunny Slope, and the river, as you might imagine, is running cold and running high. This is the time of the year when it warms up so nicely and people want to go outside, and they have a tendency to want to get wet. But if you're going to hop into the Columbia, not a good idea. It's colder and faster than it looks. Camera 2, where are we going, Megan? I don't know. Megan gets to decide. We're going to go see Blag Mountain. It's up there a ways, about 3,000 feet in elevation, looking down over the lovely hamlet of Leavenworth. Blag Mountain is up above Peshaston. Looking down, look at how green everything still is. It's just gorgeous. Still, snow hanging on to the very highest of peaks. That's not going to last much longer. And even though we're in for a big warming trend, and it is going to rise the rivers and streams, and no flooding is concerned at all. In fact, if anything, we're in a little bit of a drought. Yeah, we are. Camera 3, where are we off to, Megan? We're going to go see our Waterville camera looking down over the mighty Columbia Entiat on your far left. Earthquake Point plainly in view. The Columbia River looking good. Of course, the Waterville camera, that's up there a ways in elevation, as you might imagine. Waterville in and of itself is nearly a mile high above sea level, and you put the fact that this camera is on a tower, it's even higher than that as the sun begins to climb up. The sunrise this morning, by the way, for the Wenatchee Valley was at 5:35. Sunset at 8:20. That gives us 14 hours and 45 minutes of daylight throughout the course of this Tuesday. And camera number 4. Let's go see what's going on at Billy Goat, our highest camera. Looks like there's a spider web on it. You see that thing there on the right, glistening in the sun? I think a spider has decided to call our high definition camera home there on the Billy Goat camera, looking down over the Alta Lake Golf Course and the Alta Lake Park. Pateras, Brewster out there. I got to get up to Gamble Sands. Haven't played Gamble Sands at all yet this year. I got a big golf tournament coming up next weekend. In fact, I'll be taking next Thursday and Friday off so I can go to Spokane and play a little golf with my buddies. Incredible view there with Mount Kalispell way off in the distance, which is located in Canada, which is also way off in the distance. Yes, I have a tremendous grasp of the obvious. So that's our tour around north central Washington at 6 minutes after the hour on this Tuesday. And I hope you're ready for a weather forecast that I think almost everybody can agree is perfect. Let's take a look at it. Look at that. No problems at all. Again, there's a strong ridge of high pressure over the Gulf of Alaska. In fact, we have a graphic to show you. This came from the National Weather Service. There you go. You see that big purple H? That's what we like to see. It's starting to shuffle down to our direction, and that means it's going to be very warm and very dry right into the weekend. So no problem. In fact, we're going to heat up to near 90 by the time we get to the weekend. Yesterday's high, by the way, was 78 degrees. We had a few high clouds that kept us to get to that 80-degree mark, but still 78 on Monday is 10 degrees warmer than normal. Look at the forecast. Just gorgeous. 81 today, mostly sunny, 82 on Wednesday. Little bit of a wind tomorrow, northeast wind about 5 to 10 miles an hour on Wednesday. Nothing we can't deal with it. Pretty much the same deal Thursday, more sun than clouds, high of 81. Friday, here's your warm-up, 87, 89, 89. I hope my air conditioning works. I'm going to find out this weekend. I was tempted to fire it up yesterday afternoon, but instead I just opened up all the doors and the windows and just aired out the house. And this is a good time to do it too. Oh, perfect time to do it because your house will be comfortable, but all that nice, fresh, clean air comes blowing in. So no complaints at all. Absolutely gorgeous weather, and it's been this way since about Thursday of last week, and it's going to continue till Thursday of next week. That's what it's looking like anyway. The only big difference is a significant warming trend over the weekend. The Tri-Cities could be above 90 this weekend. So our first significant warming trend of the year coming up towards the weekend. All in all, very pleasant weather. It's 7 minutes after the hour. 7 minutes after the hour. Before we go anywhere, I want to thank our brand new sponsors who are on board this fine program. I'm talking about our friends at Confluence Health. I have been in Confluence Health, both as a visitor and as a patient, and I can safely tell you that as a patient, they very much take care of you. And nobody wants to be in the hospital, but they make it as good as they possibly can at our friends at Confluence Health. Thanks for hopping on board. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we got your news. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley Tuesday edition on the NCW Life Channel.
When the people you serve are your friends and family, you see the world a bit differently. You understand that your survival depends on the health and strength of your relationships. Your word is your reputation, and that doing the right thing is the only way of life that matters. At Confluence Health, we remain humble. Trust is a gift that is earned, a privilege, an honor. And we remain grateful for the trust you place in our hands.
Hi, I'm Jim Heinlein, agent here at Senior Insurance Services of North Central Washington, where we like to teach our customers how to shop and compare from all the Medicare options. Now, a lot of folks will come in and tell me, Jim, I'm so confused about all these choices. In fact, there's 21 reasons you can join a Medicare plan. But we want to focus on the specific plan that's right for you. So if that's what you need, give us a call at Senior Insurance, 888-2600, or visit one of our 5 locations.
Welcome back. 9 minutes after the hour. Lots of sunshine with a few high clouds. 57 degrees, lower 80s. Our high today, tomorrow, and Thursday. Upper 80s to near 90 on Friday, Saturday, and Mother's Day, Sunday. Here's what's making headlines on this Tuesday. A plane crashed into an orchard early Monday morning near Lake Chelan Airport, and it killed the pilot. Jason Reinfeld of the Chelan County Sheriff's Office said the cause of the crash is under investigation.
About 6:30 this morning, the deputies were dispatched to a plane crash in the vicinity of the Chelan Airport. I believe it was at or near an orchard. And the crash had resulted in a fire. And I believe there was only one occupant in the plane, and it was a fatality crash. After the fire crews were done, Chelan County Sheriff's Office deputies secured the scene and just held it for NTSB to investigate the crash.
Wenatchee police say a man suspected of prowling cars at Riverfront Park tried to evade capture by running into the Columbia River. The man was arrested after about an hour and a half standoff with police. Wenatchee Police Captain Edgar Reinfeld says the suspect, who was also wanted on a warrant out of Western Washington, was acting erratically and appeared to be under the influence of drugs. Police waited for him to come ashore on his own accord before making the arrest.
He walked away after a bit, but hung out in the area. He came back out of the water, and they ended up chasing him down, tried to make the arrest on the warrant. He fought vigorously, ended up being tased during the process.
Reinfeld says the man was taken to Central Washington Hospital for treatment and evaluation. He said charges are pending after blood toxicology results. Security at Moses Lake High School was stepped up yesterday morning after a student made online threats warning other students not to show up for classes. Moses Lake Police, working with parents, arrested a high school student for making the threats, the school district said. Still, extra officers were at the high school yesterday morning. The school district advised parents to talk to their children about school safety and the importance of see something, say something. The nature of the threats was not released. Well, despite numerous efforts to save it, the historic Horan house was turned into a pile of rubble yesterday morning. Demolition crews knocked down the home and are now busy hauling away what's left of it. The Victorian-style home and former restaurant on the banks of the Wenatchee River, built in 1899 by Wenatchee pioneer Michael Horan. Owner Navino Tontini had worked with the Port of Chelan Commissioner Rory Turner on ideas for preserving and maybe moving the house to another location, but its rundown condition made that cost prohibitive. Tontini, Turner, and Horan family member Beth Dobbs, well, they're now working on efforts to preserve the memory of the home, including a possible display at the Wenatchee Valley Museum and Cultural Center and a trail along the river with public access. The property is expected to be purchased by the Chelan County PUD as part of its move to Olds Station. Well, construction scheduled to start later on this month on a new skate park in Wenatchee. The project is designed by local skaters and Gridline, should be completed and ready to skate by the end of July. Funding for the $279,000 project coming from the State Recreation Conservation Office, Washington Wildlife and Recreation Program, and Federal Land and Water Conservation Fund grants. The final phase of park construction, including restrooms, play equipment, a picnic shelter, additional landscaping, and security cameras, will get underway next spring. The skate park will sit adjacent to Hale Park near the Pipeline pedestrian bridge. Well, this week is National Nurses Week, and to celebrate, we're tagging along on this week's episode of the NCW Life magazine. Producer Caitlin Hittersheet sat down with 3 local nurses to learn more about their passion in the nursing industry. Tonight, or today we should say, we begin with a little history behind National Nurses Week.
Declared in 1993, May 6th through May 12th is a week to celebrate the more than 4 million registered nurses in the profession in the United States and recognize their vast contributions to healthcare nationwide. National Nurses Week ends on May 12th, which is Florence Nightingale's birthday. If you haven't heard the name before, Florence Nightingale is known as the pioneer of modern nursing after she worked to help wounded and sick soldiers in the 1850s during the Crimean War. Have you heard the name Lady with the Lamp? That's Florence. She earned this name because she would visit soldiers at night with a small lantern in her hand. Nightingale established the first scientifically based nursing school in 1860, the Nightingale School of Nursing at St. Thomas Hospital in London. In honor of Florence and all nurses this week, I took time to sit down with 3 nurses in the Wenatchee Valley, each in different stages of their career. From learning the basics to managing the daily stress in the hospital to caring for inmates in the Chelan County Jail, North Central Washington is home to many different nursing specialties. To start this episode off, we'll catch up with Karina Alvarez, a young nursing student from East Wenatchee who is set to graduate from Wenatchee Valley College this June. Seeing a need to help fill the gap in minority nurses, Karina says her family gave her the push she needed to get on the college track.
I think specifically what happened for me to pursue college in general was my parents. They always inspired me. So my parents immigrated from Mexico to the United States, and they always were telling me about their experiences in Mexico and some of the sacrifices they had to make. Like, they were not in school, they had to drop out of school, and they were working as children, these hard labor jobs. So they came to the United States and raised my siblings and I, and here they were telling us, step outside of your comfort zone, pursue your dream and your career. So they really inspired me to go to college in the first place. So nursing school in general is very difficult. It's a difficult process. It's a difficult once you're in nursing school. And something that keeps driving me to pursue that is I remind myself what my long-term goals are, and I remind myself that I'm not only doing this for myself, but for my family. I want to be that role model for my siblings. I have 3 older siblings and 1 younger sibling, and I want to be that role model to them where we can pursue higher education and we have this opportunity. So to me, that's what keeps motivating me to keep going and to conquer these battles, because long term I do want to be a nurse and make a difference in my community and for my family as well. Something that I found surprising with nursing is how vulnerable and emotional it can be. For example, I recently had an experience during my clinical shift where I was working with a family and in pediatrics, and the 2-year-old patient actually ended up passing away. And that experience was very difficult for me, and luckily I had the resources available for me, like speaking to my clinical instructor and to a counselor about the situation, but it was very difficult, and I guess I didn't make the connection that nurses are there for 12 hours with these patients and they see it all, they see the whole picture, and that is difficult. But what keeps me going with nursing is that I want to be there for them during these difficult moments, and I want to help them through these moments and educating them on the resources available, and just being able to hold their hand during these times can really make a difference.
Really good stuff from our very own Kat. And of course, you can check out this week's edition of NCW Life magazine various times throughout the course of this week, and of course also available on our website at ncwlife.com. And finally, on this Tuesday morning, the 100th Washington State Apple Blossom Festival, pretty much a done deal. We were very proud here at the NCW Life channel to bring you all 3 parades live: the Kais Fiber Youth Parade, the Les Schwab Classy Chassis Parade, and the Stem Growers Grand Parade. We are at a new broadcast location this year at the very top of the parade, the very start of the parade at Triangle Park. And if you ever wonder how we put it all together, our crew from behind the scenes, take a look. Yeah, we did it. We pulled it off. We had a really good time doing it, and thanks for everybody who made it happen, including our anchor, Gant Olson. Oh, we had fun. Can't wait to do it again next year. And by the way, before I forget, Darci Christoferson, the festival administrator, will be here live to talk about the festival in about 15 minutes in this very studio. There's still 2 events yet to happen. You know, the Washington State Apple Blossom Festival isn't done yet. There's still 2 sanctioned events. One is still going on, Newsies, The Music Theater Wenatchee musical continues its run at the America Performing Arts Center. And this weekend at the Town Toyota Center is the Hell on Hooves Rodeo, the J.S. Long Hell on Hooves Rodeo. Huge event going on this weekend. In fact, those folks will be dropping by and seeing me on Friday. Don't forget the news with Gant Olson. Eric Granstrom with sports. We'll have it for you tonight at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 10 o'clock, 5, 6, and 10 with Eric and Grant. Plus, Grant gets to be the good guy this week because he handles the weather forecast, so everybody's going to like Grant. Check it out, the news at 5, 6, and 10. If you want to get a hold of us, we make it as easy as possible. All the tools are out there for you to use. Pick up the telephone and give us a call, 888-2020 during regular business hours. You can drop us a line via email, news@ncwlife.com. You can go to our Twitter handle. You can go to our Facebook page. Be sure to like us while we're there. You can drop us a line via the messenger. Whatever the case may be, we'd love to hear from you. You can even go to our website and contact us that way, ncwlife.com. And in the upper right-hand corner of your web screen, you'll see the Connect With Us button, and click on it, fill out the form, and boom, there you go. It's as simple as that. 21 minutes after the hour on a beautiful Tuesday. When we come back, sports. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
Hey folks, Carrie from Blueberry Hills. A chill is in the air and it's a perfect time for some old-fashioned comfort food like our amazing Eggs Benedict, chicken fried steak, French dips, soups made from scratch, or fruit pies fresh from the oven. The crowds might be gone, but we're still here for you folks. So bring an appetite and a friend to Blueberry Hills in Manson, where you pick, you sit, you eat, and you visit. Open Wednesday through Sunday from 8 to 3. wildaboutberries.com.
At some point, we realized that value and practicality go hand in hand. A time when an unnoticed accumulation of items has become burdensome. These possessions still have value, but now lack usefulness. Donate your unwanted items to Goodwill and become a job creator. Your donations allow Goodwill to provide much-needed training to job seekers in our community, and that's pretty useful for everyone. Be a job creator. Donate. Goodwill. There's more behind the store.
Welcome back to this Tuesday edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. I'm Dan Kuntz. Let's do sports. Braden Weatherman tossed a no-hit complete game. He threw a masterpiece. Cashmere victorious 6-0 over Cascade in the first round of the district tournament at Cashmere yesterday. Facing elimination, the Bulldogs sophomore left-hander kept the Kodiaks off balance, struck out 11, walked only 3 in his complete game no-hit performance. So Cashmere travels to Ephrata today. There's your schedule. They're going to await the loser of the district championship between Okanagan and Chelan. The Bulldogs and Goats play at 5 for the title. The loser faces Cashmere at 7 in a loser-out game. The Big 9 district play-in games also today. Wenatchee hosts West Valley at 5. Eastmont's on the road in Yakima to take on Eisenhower. They also get underway at 5 o'clock. And in Central Washington B-League play, Waterville-Mansfield is at Manson at 4:30. We didn't get any scores, but we did learn via social media that the Eastmont girls golf team has won the regular season Big 9 title. Eastmont finished first at the Moses Lake Country Club yesterday to claim their first title in 12 years. Nicely done, Wildcats. Coming up today, here's your schedule. You got Chelan, Eastmont, Wenatchee, and 20 other teams are going to be at the Suncadia Invite outside of Roslyn. The boys golf tournament will tee off this morning at 9 a.m. Turning to boys soccer. Playoffs continue today. Cashmere travels to Bridgeport to take on the Mustangs. The District 6 1A semis at 4:30. The other semifinal has Cascade hosting Chelan also at 4:30. The District 6 4A semifinals also today. Wenatchee is on the road to take on Sunnyside. Eastmont's on the road to take on West Valley. Both games start at 6 o'clock. The winners will play for the district championship at the highest seeds home field Friday at 6. This is the final week of the regular season in girls softball. Wenatchee hosts Eastmont this afternoon at Walla Walla Point Park at 4 o'clock. That will be game 1 of a doubleheader. We're going to have that first game right here on the NCW Live channel. We're going to play it back for you tonight at 7 with Joel Norman on the play-by-play. Also today, Waterville-Mansfield travels to Mansfield. Just one game at 4:30. The Big 9 wraps up the regular season in tennis today. Eastmont's on the road at Davis at 3 o'clock. Wenatchee celebrates Senior Day with Sunnyside in town at 3. The district championships will be Saturday at West Valley. Well, the Yankees, my Yankees, treated Felix Hernandez to a rude Bronx welcome. New York bombed him for 7 runs and 3 home runs, 7-3. Yankees over the Mariners. D. Gordon was the lone bright spot on a dreary day in the Big Apple, went 3 for 4 with a home run in the number 9 spot in the lineup. Seattle sends Marco Gonzalez to the mound today. He'll take on Masahiro Tanaka. First pitch, 3:35. And finally, the Seahawks wrapped up rookie minicamp on Sunday at the VMAC in Renton. Coach Pete Carroll says it was a productive 3 days for the coaching staff to get a first-hand look at their 11 draft picks, the 12 undrafted free agents, and more than 40 players who are just playing were trying out to see if they can make the roster.
We really had a really fun weekend watching these guys do their thing, show where they fit in and where they have a chance to try to figure into this roster. Saw really good stuff in the draft picks. We're really pleased with the way they learned and picked things up. Their conditioning level was adequate for this work right now. We got a ways to go, but so they reported in pretty good shape. Unfortunately, the 2 receivers that have hamstrings that are just of concern. We just didn't want to push it on the weekend. Want to give that some more time. That's for Ursula and Gary Jennings. But everybody else did real nice stuff, and it was very competitive as much as we can be under the rules that we have, and we learned a lot.
Next up for the Seattle Seahawks, OTAs May 20th, 28th, and the 31st. Is also going to be a mandatory minicamp, June 11th through the 13th. By the way, 93 days, mark it on your calendar, 93 days until the first preseason game when the Seahawks will take on the Denver Broncos. And those are just some of the games that people are playing on this Tuesday, 27 minutes after the hour, and a gorgeous day. Look at that view from Billy Goat, and I see that the spider web is still there. The obscure holiday of the day today, very important day. Today's Teacher's Day. Teacher's Day. Special thanks to all of you teachers out there. It's observed in all kinds of different countries, including here in the United States. The first Teacher's Day was back on March 7th, 1980. Back in 1985, they changed it to the first week in May as National Teachers Week, and then National Teachers Day was first established on this day, whatever the second Tuesday in May is, or first Tuesday in May, since then, 1994. So show a little respect for your teachers, bring them some gifts, a handwritten note card. I guarantee you, students, if you bring a handwritten note card to thank your teacher for doing such a good job at making you smarter and better, the teacher will keep it. Flowers are cool too. In many countries, teachers and students get the day off. That doesn't make any sense. You're supposed to go to school. Happy National Teachers Day. And by the way, if you're a teacher out there, do a little surfing around the internet, because there's a lot of businesses and restaurants that give teachers really deep discounts today. Really deep discounts, and even some free meals, stuff like that. I don't have a chance to look at the list myself, but if you're a teacher, if you're a professional educator, it might be worth your while, because there might be some folks out there, businesses and such, that are going to give you deep discounts or even buy you dinner tonight. Happy National Teachers Day. I loved mine. 28 minutes after the hour. Today in history, 104 years ago today, the German submarine, the U-20, sank the Lusitania. Yeah, 1,198 people went to the bottom of the ship. It sank in 15 minutes, 128 Americans on board. Before this happened, most Americans, as World War I was coming, most of them were pro-German, but after this happened, because the Germans sank a passenger ship, the tide changed, and a bunch of people in the United States began to become anti-Germans. Again, this was before World War I, slightly before World War I. Now, the Germans said we were completely justified in sinking the Lusitania because, yeah, it had passengers, but it had a whole bunch of war munitions, hundreds of tons of ammunition and war materials were being shipped from the United States to Great Britain on a passenger ship. They were trying to slide under the radar. The British and the Americans said that wasn't the case. Check the manifest. It was just passengers. There was no munitions on board. It was all on the up and up. And that was the story that the British told everybody. It was an unjustified sinking, the Germans sinking our ship, the Lusitania. It just had passengers on it. Well, in 1982, they found the Lusitania, and a bunch of salvage folks, when they dive down there and take a look, see the wreckage of the Lusitania, and that's when the British authorities said, you salvagers, that's probably not a good idea, because the Lusitania in the cargo hold has a bunch of munitions and war materials in it. It's dangerous. I wouldn't do it. They let the cat out of the bag. The Lusitania went to the bottom of the Atlantic 104 years ago today. May 7th, 1992, 27 years ago today, the 27th Amendment went into effect, the 27th Amendment to the Constitution. The amendment bars Congress from giving themselves a pay raise in the middle of a term. And we all get to thank 19-year-old college sophomore Gregory Watson. He wrote his term paper. And he said, there's no grandfather clause on the 27th Amendment. It can still be passed. His professor, a lady by the name of Sharon Waite, said, this is ridiculous. She gave him a C- on his term paper. She said, this is stupid. You can't ratify the 27th Amendment. And that got Gregory Watson all upset. So he started a campaign to get it ratified, and it worked. The amendment eventually became part of the Constitution on this day back in 1992. It took 202 years and 7 months to get the job done. By the way, in 2017, Watson's grade was changed from a C- to an A+. So Gregory Watson, a 19-year-old college sophomore, is the one who got this baby passed 202 years after it was first proposed by the United States Congress. It can be done. Historic birthdays today. The legendary Gary Cooper, Academy Award for Best Actor. He won 2 of them, one for Sergeant York and one for High Noon. High Noon, one of the greatest Westerns of all time. One of the very top 10 film personalities throughout his career. Didn't live very long, only lived to the age of 60, died back in 1961. The legendary Gary Cooper, one of the greatest actors in this country's history, was born in this date in 1901. Johnny Unitas, the former quarterback, NFL MVP in 1959, 1964, 1967. For 52 years, he held the record for most consecutive games with a touchdown pass. Drew Brees of the Saints eventually passed it. Consistently rated as one of the greatest players in professional football history. Johnny Unitas was born on this date in 1933, passed away in 2002 at the age of 69. And we lost Tim Russert way too soon. Tim Russert, for 16 years, the moderator, the host of Meet the Press. A lot of people think Meet the Press has not been the same since Tim Russert died of a heart attack 11 years ago at the age of 58. We miss him. The legendary Tim Russert was born on May 7th, 1950. We're going to take a break. When we come back, everybody is entitled to Mike Magnotti's opinion. And then Darci Christoferson, the administrator of the Washington State Apple Blossom Festival, will talk about the 100th, which is now almost in the books. And we'll preview the 101st Washington State Apple Blossom Festival. That's coming up. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
When you have to get there on time and looking good, call Fast, Friendly, Reliable AC Checker, 663-TAXI. Available 24/7, AC Checker Taxi has the industry's only on-time or it's free guarantee for your pre-booked call. Some conditions apply. Call 663-8294. AC Checker, 663-TAXI. Schedule your ride ASAP or book up to a year in advance online at acchecker.com. American Classic Checker Taxi, 663-TAXI. That's 663-8294.
When it comes to accounting, we cover every aspect of it. From our comprehensive range of bookkeeping services designed to help your day-to-day business operations to our end-to-end tax service. From advice, planning, return preparation, and seminars, we offer you the best services with utmost professionalism, letting you focus solely on what you do best, managing your business. We offer solutions for success.
Hello, Wenatchee Valley, from the staff at Collins Fashions. Christy, Heidi, Georgia, Julene, Judy, and I, we are your Brighton headquarters for the Valley, and we are here to assist you with your personal and gift-giving needs of jewelry, handbags, sunglasses, etc. We carry your favorite brands such as Tommy Bahama, Karen Kane, Tribal, Jag, Nick and Zoe, Joseph Ribcop, foundations from Spanx and Shapies, cute, comfortable shoes and sandals. Our staff will style you head to toe at Collins, where fun meets fashion in downtown Wenatchee.
When you think of Doghouse Motorsports, you might think of motorcycles, but there's a lot more in this house. How about Honda power equipment? From snowblowers to lawnmowers to generators and even water pumps, Honda is the brand that sets the standards. Perhaps you need an ATV or UTV. The Doghouse has the largest selection anywhere. Did we mention watercraft and snowmobiles? And of course, we have motorcycles too. Back it up with terrific customer service and you have Wenatchee's best motorsports store 5 years running. Isn't it time for you to be in the Doghouse?
Is this really what we're gonna do on our girls' night out?
We should go to Club Crow. The bar and grill in Cashmere? Yeah, let's go.
Looking for a fun-filled, friendly hometown atmosphere? Club Crow Bar and Grill in Cashmere is the place to be. Hi, this is Justin. Here at Club Crow, we have full bar and restaurant, live music, a dance floor, pool tables, pull tabs, and live jam sessions the first Sunday of every month. Club Crow in Cashmere, the coolest place in town.
I'm Jenny Rojanasatian, and this is Guada TV. Every week we will be bringing you a first look at North Central Washington business, tech, and education news. You'll hear from local influencers and innovators who live right here in the Valley. Together, we'll discuss hot topics, current events, and resources that can support your business, our schools, and this community. Join me every week, and let's get inspired.
This is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and everybody is entitled to my opinion. Now, there's been no comprehensive solution to school shootings. There's not. There's no one thing that if we do that one thing, it's going to guarantee to stop or even eventually deter somebody intent on murdering school children. Deterring school shooting is going to take a wider ranging approach, much of it dependent not on government intervention, but on community involvement. This horrific situation, the murder of our children, is going to take each one of us being willing to stop our knee-jerk emotional reactions, ending the blame game, and most of all, most importantly, stop waiting for the government to act and instead to ask ourselves, what can we do, what can we do within this community to help provide an answer? This is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and that's my opinion.
If you are looking for dependable car service and repair, visit the good guys at Quick Lube and Tune. They've been keeping cars and trucks in the Wenatchee Valley running smooth for 35 years. Quick Lube and Tune is your hometown shop for a 10-minute oil change, complete tune-ups, alignments, brakes, mufflers, air conditioning service, and more. Get more life out of your vehicle by bringing it to the local guys you can trust at Quick Lube and Tune on South Wenatchee Avenue.
Family roles change with time. You may find yourself being an unpaid caregiver to a loved one. Caregiving can be rewarding, but also stressful. Taking care of yourself is vital. Aging and Adult Care of Central Washington has low or no-cost services for unpaid caregivers, such as in-home support, care supplies, and counseling. Connect in your local area by calling Aging and Adult Care at 800-572-4459 and mention you're interested in caregiver support.
If you're stuck trying to find the perfect beer for you, look no further than Badger Mountain Brewing. We specialize in creating tantalizing craft beers that will soothe any picky taste buds and will satisfy your cravings. Check out everything from our amazing honey blonde that will appease even the most finicky taster, or a delicious frothy stout for dark beer lovers. Experience them all at Badger Mountain Brewing.
Welcome back to Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. I am Dan Kuntz. The party never ended for 10 days. I know I participated in the big party that was the 100th Washington State Apple Blossom Festival, and it's not done yet. We'll talk about that here in just a couple of minutes. Making her very first appearance on this program. Please welcome the festival administrator, Darci Christoferson. Hi. What'd you do this weekend? Anything exciting? Go to some movies, maybe do a yard sale or something? What'd you do?
It was a blur. It totally was a blur. You know, it's kind of like planning a wedding. You know, Friday was our rehearsal dinner, and we were loading stuff up, getting ready for the wedding. And then Saturday was the wedding, and then you wake up and it's over.
It's over.
It's over.
Not quite. There's still two things going on. Newsies is still playing at the Numerica Performing Arts Center. The Apple Blossom, the Music Theater Wenatchee has been doing a musical for 50 years, something like that, during the festival?
Yep.
So, and I've heard nothing but great stuff about
I've heard nothing
Newsies.
but wonderful things. Opening night was last Wednesday, and the royalty and the chaperones, they absolutely loved it. Loved it, loved it, loved it. I can't wait to see it.
It's amazing the kind of theater talent that we have in this area.
Oh,
it's stunning.
I always sit there in awe of any musical that our community does. It's always, whether it's high school or Music Theater Wenatchee, it's amazing.
And the production values are fantastic.
Yeah.
It's like, am I on Broadway? What am I looking at here?
I heard the dancing is amazing, the singing, it's just, and of course it's kids, most of them, so that's kind of fun too.
And you know how much they get paid to do the show? Nothing.
Right.
Zero.
Yeah.
Zilch. It's all volunteers. They just love doing it.
Everything about Apple Blossom's all volunteers.
Yeah.
I don't think hardly anybody gets paid.
No, you're right. Yeah, you and your staff, that's about it.
That's about
That's about it. That's all there is to it. So Newsies is still playing, and this weekend at the Town Toyota Center is the GS Long Hell on Hooves Rodeo, which has become one of the biggest events of the people love it.
They love it. They love it. It used to be the big weekend. It used to be, the big weekend, but they moved it one weekend later, which I think was a great idea.
Yeah, because there's so
Well, now we have the carnival in the parking lot.
Yeah.
And it would have been too much. So.
thank you for the app, by the way. That was a lifesaver. Oh, geez.
It saves
It really
us so
was.
much. A huge thank you to Crunchback for sponsoring that. Our phones don't ring half as much as they used to ring because of that app. This year it was a little different just because it was the 100th, and there were other questions that people had, but it was so great.
Yeah.
So great.
It was a huge tool for me. It was a couple of times when people come up to me and say, when's this event? And I just whip out my phone, app. Oh, the Kiwanis Pancake Breakfast starts at 6:30.
Yep.
Thank you. See ya.
I know.
Yeah.
It was so great.
It worked out really good. I saw you in the documentary. I've seen this now a couple of times. You're like all over this documentary.
I know, yeah.
I had Charlie and Jeff on the show last week to talk about it.
Oh, good.
They said this is by far the biggest project they've ever tackled, and North 40's
Right.
been around for a while. They've done great work. What do you think? I mean, you've seen it now.
Oh,
You've seen it.
I've seen it, three times. Yeah. I love it, and so many people have seen it at Liberty Cinema. They also celebrated their 100th anniversary. So they showed it last week 3 times, and many people said, oh my gosh, watching it on the big screen was so awesome. So we've sold lots of them. We still have some available at the festival office at 2 South Chelan Street, or you can buy them online for $25. But it's definitely an amazing keepsake about the 100 years of Apple Blossom.
So get them. Get them while the getting is good. Absolutely.
Yes.
It's a great DVD. You're going to recognize a lot of people.
A lot of people. I'm not the only one in it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of other people in it. So.
A lot of former royalty, and
Yes.
that was really the. You talk about continuity, and I mentioned this in the motion picture. The Apple Blossom Festival is 100 years old. There are 2 things that have happened every year. Some things have come and gone. Right. Some things have gotten to be traditions, like the carnival and the music theater production, and now the beer garden is kind of becoming a tradition in and of its own. But the 2 things, there are 2 events that have happened every Apple Blossom Festival, bar none: royalty and a parade.
Yep.
And that's the key. It's continuity.
Yep. It really is. And what I have found is the younger generation are the ones that love that DVD, the documentary. They're like, oh my gosh, I want to move back home, or I just love our community so much, or I had no idea how much work was put into it. So that's kind of interesting that generation appreciates it almost more than the older generation. So that's really good for us, because that's the next group of volunteers, the next director generals is going to be that generation. So for them to love it so much is really
this
awesome.
festival does not put itself on.
No,
So
it doesn't.
It just it takes just hordes of volunteers putting in hundreds and hundreds of thousands of hours. People you don't get to see, parade marshals and security people and all that stuff, and everybody's volunteering their time, and you know why they do it? Because it's a kick in the butt.
It
It's
really
a blast.
is, yeah. And you get a T-shirt. You get a cool T-shirt. We have these really cool beer garden T-shirts, and that is really why everybody volunteers for the beer garden. And then of course we have our hot pink T-shirts this year that were donated by Fred Meyer. So you do get a T-shirt, but it really is a lot of fun. And the documentary actually says that once you become a volunteer of the Apple Blossom Festival, you really become a family member. I mean, we've gone through marriages, divorces, babies, all
more
together.
Marriages, more divorces, more babies.
Just a lot as a family, and sometimes you're with this family all year long, and sometimes you're just with them once a year. A lot of the float judges I see once a year. I go to their trailer, give them big hugs, thank them for coming and being a part of this. And then I don't see a lot of them again until the next festival.
And
so
they do a great job.
they
Candy
do.
and Jimmy Dahl, they've been
Yep.
doing this for years.
They've
and the
been
whole
doing
crew,
it
they do
forever.
a great job, yeah.
And all these volunteers have really been doing it for as long as I've been administrator. You know, for 25 years, a lot of these people just have done it and just showed up. And I didn't even know they existed until, you know, my first year. It was like, oh, you do that? I didn't know that. So,
At the start of the parade, Roger came down in his golf cart,
yeah.
in his tux. And he pulled over, and I sat down next to him. I go, what's going on? He goes, I just wanted to say hi. Come down, say hi, see what's going on.
Yeah, that's Roger's job.
Yeah.
You know, he has his little red jacket on, and he just rides around that golf cart and makes sure everybody's happy and everybody is doing okay. So.
When you looked at the calendar all these years ago, and you say, okay, the centennial, the 100th is in 2019, obviously you would invite back all the living royalty. Every last member who was still with us, who hasn't exited their earthly vessel, was invited to come back. Would you have any idea that 168 would actually do it?
No.
That's insane.
No, I get emotional thinking about it. It was amazing. And 168, when you say it out loud, and I said it at the festival ball, 168 past royalty members came home. And what I said at the festival ball was, you know, it really is a sisterhood, and it really is so hard to explain to people that aren't from here what being a part of Appalachian royalty is. It's just something that you just can't explain. And like Carol Ellis said, who was a queen in the 50s, she said, it's just in here and it just never goes away. And that's so true and so obvious when you have 168 members come home. And
it speaks
just
for
to
itself,
ride in
doesn't
a parade, a lot of fuss about a parade, right?
Yeah.
It's like, it was a weekend that I will never forget.
Saturday was fairy tale-ish almost.
Just was.
I got
yes.
some footage that you haven't seen. I want to show this to you while we show you this footage, Darcy. By the way, I want to use the monitor here. We took this drone footage about an hour after the Grand Parade ended. We were back here at the station, and Uriah Darby, one of our certified drone pilots, fired it up and said, "Let's go take a visit at the park." So this is about an hour after the Smoke Growers Grand Parade wrapped up, and you're going to see a sea of humanity. And I just want your reaction to this, because I went to the park on Saturday, and it was so much fun.
It really was. I was there too, and it like you said earlier, it was like a family reunion. It was just classmates that we haven't seen forever, and it was just very awesome.
Darcy's going to cry, people.
I know. See,
don't go back to her camera yet, Megan. Just stay on this footage. But everybody had a good time.
They did.
Everybody was smiling. Everybody was eating food. And
well, when you
enjoying
have the
entertainment.
weather, of course, that we had, that was just a blessing. When somebody had said that to me, you know, when the weather's great, God is watching over you and making sure that, you know, the event is happening and everyone's happy, and that is totally picture perfect. Look at that. Oh my goodness, look at those food vendors. They got to be happy there. Wow.
Isn't that incredible?
That
footage?
is incredible.
Yeah, and I definitely did my part. I bought a lot of food there.
Yes.
Over 10 days.
Oh, that's great.
That's the one unknown. I mean, you and Dina, we talked about this is the centennial. It takes a couple of years to plan each Apple Blossom Festival, but for this one, it took you gave yourself an extra year because of all the stuff that was going to happen with the centennial. The one thing you don't know, you and Dina, the Director General, is the one unknown is the weather, and it turned out perfect.
It did. You know, the youth weekend was a little rough, but it's the youth weekend, and the kids don't care. It's the parents that care. So that was a little rough, but it was a beautiful weekend. I just couldn't ask for anything. That's really cool.
Isn't that
we
cool?
gotta take a still of that.
The,
that's really. I'll use it next year when I'm placing the food vendors.
Memorial Park has been the hub of the Apple Blossom Festival almost since day one. In fact, the original festival was held in Memorial Park.
And that's another cool thing. We had, of course, our Grand Marshals from New Zealand, and we said goodbye to them yesterday, and they were just amazed with that too, that this thing that their great-grandmother invented is still in the same location it was 100 years ago.
Again, continuity.
Yeah.
We talk about it. Connects the generations. It's the thread that makes the festival continue.
Right. Yep.
That's
absolutely it. My son brought his friends from Ellensburg, from Central, and made them watch the documentary before they came. And, you know, the girls were crying, and they said, I just feel like I know you more, and I want to live here. And then he watched it again with another group of friends, and they're just in awe of this community because a lot of people don't have what we have.
No, amen to that.
Yeah.
We have, this is one of the events. There's a lot. This is probably the single biggest event that ties this community in together, that makes us a community.
Yes.
This is why people want to live here. This is why people want to party here. And it was a party more than anything else.
It really
brought back
was.
some memories of some pretty fun times of my youth.
Well, it was
really
fun. I got to ride in the Grand Parade, so that was super fun. And it was fun to see the streets lined with people. And when I rode in it 25 years ago, from 5th to 7th, there wasn't that many people. But this year, oh my gosh, it was packed all the way down. The group of girls that I was with, they were like, oh my gosh, look at it.
There's still people.
There's still people, you know, screaming at you. And it was like, oh my gosh, it's so great. Of course, we're like, alive in 85, baby.
So, talk about when you woke up Monday morning, because you did it. You pulled it off. There must have been a ginormous release. I mean, I'm still kind of riding a little bit of a high because I had so much fun over the weekend. I can't imagine what you were going through, you and Dina, saying, we did it.
Monday is cleanup day for Aaron and I, so that's really what we've been doing. I think it's really going to hit me Friday. We close on Friday, and just be able to just really soak it in and really reflect on it, which I have not been able to do yet. We were tired on Monday morning, definitely, but I can't explain it. It's just too hard to explain to people what that weekend was. And you know, if you're on Facebook, it's amazing, the pictures and the comments that people that I don't know even, that are just had a blast, just had so much fun. Of course, they're asking, are you going to do this again? No. we have talked about doing it every 10 years.
Okay.
Which that would be really cool.
You mean bringing the royalty back?
Bringing the royalty back every 10 years. Because again, when you hit that 100 milestone and then you hit 110, that's still pretty cool. You know, and when you hit 120, so we have talked about that, maybe doing every.
Speaking of talking, one of the things that people don't know is immediately after the festival, in fact, this week, you have a lot of meetings with all your heads of your various projects, your golf tournament head, and while it's all fresh in your mind, so you can sit down, compare notes, what worked and what doesn't work. It's not like they just done.
We are year-end party is on Wednesday, so I schedule critique meetings from now until that Wednesday, and really go over everything that took place for the 100th, and that really helps us a lot in planning, you know, for the next festival. So, and I do it all on the 15th because you know how it is. It's like, oh, we'll get together. And it's like, no, we're getting together before the 15th, because once the year-end party's over, we don't really do anything in the summer as far as with our board. We go to all the out-of-town festivals, and then our committee for the auction is working. And then, of course, I'm working on sponsorships. But it is truly see you next year thing with our board of directors. So I like to get it all done by the 15th.
It's funny, they have these meetings, the critiques at Darci, and they talk about the things that worked and the things that didn't work. Everything worked this year, as far as I know. Every event that I went to went off without a hitch.
It did. I mean, there's always something.
Yeah.
Of course, I have my long list of little things that it's like, oh, we should have done this. I wake up at 1 o'clock in the morning like I did yesterday or last night and say, oh, shoot, I should have done this. But that's just me critiquing everything to pieces.
So as Darci said, they're going to close up shop and just everybody takes a little break, a little breather. The royalty just now starts getting busy. This is the first festival of the festival season, really.
Yeah.
They got to go to Manson, they go to Spokane, they're going to all the
Hayek.
different.
So the month of May, they have a festival every weekend, and then they have graduation, and then they're pretty good until the end of June. So it's still a little, although, you know, these girls were awesome, and they truly took every moment and loved every moment. And they were sad on Sunday. They're like walking around. They actually came to the park without their crowns on, just together though. And they're like, what do I do? What do I do? And great parents. I mean, they were at everything the parents were, and that's kind of not normal.
No, it isn't.
And again, I don't know if it was because it was the 100th, but these girls definitely became best friends and are best friends, and that just added more to the year for sure.
I for one had a really good 10 days. It was a memorable apple blossom as far as that's concerned. It was one of the best ones I can ever remember.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
So, you notice the Kiwi doll.
Yes.
Mark and David brought me that from New Zealand. They're on their way. They've left the Pacific Northwest. They're on their way to San Francisco. Mark and David and David's wife,
Diane,
wonderful people.
Wonderful people.
Boy,
and,
they have a good time.
They had, I can't even tell you how much fun they had. They had a blast. They did not want to leave. We got a little teary-eyed last night saying goodbye to them because they're really family now. I mean, they're getting a Christmas card. They're just very special people, truly honored to be a part of all this and the history that they have about Susan and Ernst. And Ernst isn't even their real, great-grandfather. And then the Callahan family got involved, and they all came. They were all here for the ball, and it's just this family now that we have that is just pretty. We're definitely rewriting the history of Susan Wagner in our on our website because it's totally different than what we have down. So
I don't get to see you again for a very long time, at least in this context, being on my program. In the 5 minutes we have left, the 101st Apple Blossom Festival. Walk me through between now and April and May of 2020. What happens?
Well, we will pick our theme. So we already have the theme for the 101, which we'll announce on May 15th. So now once we get a theme, then we will work on our auction, which we already have a theme for. That will be in October, the last weekend of October. I can't remember
Usually
the exact
right
date.
around Halloween.
27th, somewhere in there. And our theme for that is Tailgate Party. So I'll be sending out information to all of our sponsors for the auction, asking for their donation again. And then, of course, we'll be starting mandatory meetings in November and the pageant in February. And so it's just pretty much the same thing, except we won't be planning a 100th festival ball and inviting 168 past royalty home. So that's going for Erin, my new assistant, who we just hired last year in September. She won't know what to do with herself. I mean, this has been such a huge undertaking for her, for all of us, but for her, getting 95 convertibles. 95 convertibles. Yeah. And all of them showed up, making the signs, all the names were spelled right. I mean, she won't know what to do next year because it'll be, I don't want to say easy, but it'll be so easy.
Talk about throwing the
I know.
Lines. I mean, she was, her first festival is the 100th.
Oh yeah. But
she
of
handled
course
it with a plum.
she did awesome, and everyone loves her, and I can't wait to see her next year and see how she progresses. But
one last note with Darci, and this is maybe the most poignant of all as I watch this documentary again. I remember the 70s and 80s when just a sea of people would come into town. And it would be one big 3-day party, and there would be problems, specifically law enforcement issues. The vast majority of the law enforcement that takes place during the Apple Blossom Festival is on the shoulders of Chief Steve Crown in the Wenatchee Police Department. He was Mike McNaughty's guest yesterday on a Street Talk and other stuff, and I got to talk to Chief Crown, and I looked at the incident report that we get from Rivercom every day. He said it was an everyday, normal weekend around Wenatchee Valley. Those days are gone.
Yeah.
Good riddance to me.
Yeah, no, same here. And, again, with cruising, our kids don't even know what that is. And they wouldn't even know what to do. How do you cruise and text and, Snapchat? And their world's different than what our world was. Mm-hmm. But Matt Cadman at the festival ball, when he talked about cruising, and all my kids were there at the ball, they were laughing so hard because it's like, okay, you cruise for 2 hours and then you make it and then you do it all over again. And this generation, I think, would be so anxious. I have to wait 2 hours in a car. What are you talking? Oh, it was hilarious when Matt was talking about that because it's so crazy that we did that and we thought it was so cool.
And now my generation, who did a lot of the cruising, everything from what comes around. Now we all just meet at the beer garden.
Yeah, that's what it's so true.
Yeah,
it's like that was so fun seeing everybody. It was just a huge class reunion for sure.
Darci, we have a minute left. I'm going to give you a closing statement. Darci Christoferson, anything that you want to say, you can look right into that camera over there.
Well, of course.
Thank everybody.
Thank everybody. I want to thank the sponsors. I mean, they stepped up hugely. Our documentary sponsors, to be able to raise $135,000 in 2 months is crazy. So that was in addition to all the sponsors for the 100th, which were record numbers too. So this festival could not happen without our sponsors and the over 500 volunteers that do the same thing every single year, and of course our board of directors. From not just this year, but last year's board of directors, a lot of the things that happened for our 100th were decisions that were made by our 2018 board of directors. So a big thank you to them. And Dina nailed that too at our festival ball, that director generals is what make this festival happen.
We're going to do it again next year?
I'm ready.
All
Bring
right,
it on.
let's do it.
Bring it on.
Thanks, Darci.
Thank you.
Love you.
Love you.
Danny, say bye-bye. Darci, say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.